All right. Let's try this again. Shall I? Good flippin' grief. It was not YouTube. It's definitely StreamYard. StreamYard is having a very, very difficult time loading up. I could not tell you why at all. Like at all. So ignore the date at the top. We're gonna give this another go. If this does not work, I'm gonna say that it's the night, and we will come back on Thursday. But hopefully, I should have told everybody what date is in 2 days. Or 3 days. May 2nd. So thanks for following me along. Let's hope that this works out a little better.
Because that's my.
We'll go back. Wait.
Is there any reason you remember that date?
Because that's my birthday. Our family makes it a ritual of contacting each other on our birthdays. And that was the phone call that he had made to me that morning.
Is that the last time you spoke to your brother?
Yes.
No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Good afternoon, Mr. Halderson.
Yeah.
Do you need a glass of water or anything? We can take a break if you need something.
I should be good for now.
And I just have a couple questions for you. Thank you. To confirm, you said that you live just outside of Appleton?
I live in Hilbert,
Okay.
Wisconsin. Yep.
Okay, but not in Dane County, Wisconsin.
No.
How often would you say you did come over to Dane County to visit Bart and Krista?
It was not very frequently that we were down there. They were very COVID conscious. So when COVID was around,
May 1st
they
stream, so
had not been up by us. They had not hosted any events. I visited them last September of 2020, where Bart and I had gone out scuba diving at Devil's Lake. And before that was probably sometime in earlier 2019.
How about just regular phone conversations with Bart or Krista? How often would you say you did that?
Very rarely would I have a phone conversation with Krista. With Bart, I believe it was every couple of months, every 3 months, maybe we'd have a conversation while I was out walking the dogs, and I would either just have a desire to speak with him, or I had a tax question, and it would be an opportunity to speak with him.
And as far as the information that you provided to Chandler about what he should do, is it fair to say that you were providing that information because of your prior experience in law enforcement, or something that you would have provided regardless?
I guess I provide anything to help find my brother and his wife.
But I guess, and I apologize, what I was getting at is telling Chandler to go seek out rig footage or to talk to neighbors. Is that something that perhaps was a little easier for you to suggest because of your experience in law enforcement?
Maybe I was more aware of it because of my experience in law enforcement, but just knowing camera systems and knowing that sometimes they're not kept more than 24 hours, 48 hours or longer. And I wasn't aware of what Dane County was doing at the time. I thought it just would be prudent to try to preserve any information that would potentially have a license plate of a vehicle that stopped there that day.
Sure, and that's exactly why you provided that information.
Yes.
For Chandler. As far as Krista's family, are you aware she's close to her family?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. You can answer if you know.
I know she has brothers and sisters throughout the United States. I know she was very, very close with her mother while her mother was alive.
I have no further questions. Thank you so much.
Any redirect?
No further questions.
May Mr. Halderson be released and excused?
He may.
Thank you, sir, for your time today. We could take up one more witness if it's of the same length of time.
Sure. It's going to call Jay Gilbertson to the stand.
Jake Gilbertson.
Feeling and believe you can safely and responsibly testify without a mask, that would be our preference at this time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name, both first and last, for the record?
Jay Gilbertson, first name Jay, second name Gilbertson.
Where do you live, Mr. Gilbertson?
Could you, I have a little trouble hearing, can you?
Oh, sure. Yep, yell at me if I'm not loud enough. Where do you where did you reside in July of 2021?
In DeForest, right next door to the Haldersons,
Okay.
to the west.
And did you know Bart and Krista Halderson?
Yes,
Just as neighbors or anything more?
pretty much just neighbors, you know, cordial, how you doing in the backyard type stuff. Never at their house, inside their house, never did anything with them, just that kind of cordial relationship.
Sure. Before the events of Bart and Krista going missing, did you know Chandler Halderson?
I may have seen them, but I'm not sure I knew the two brothers apart, you know, which one was Mitchell and which
Makes
one
me
was
wanna rap.
Chandler. I know I've waved to the boys at least one or two times.
Okay. And on July 8th, do you happen to you end up having a conversation with Chandler Halderson? Is that true?
That is true.
What was the nature of that conversation?
He stopped over about 8:30, I think, in the morning. He said, "Hi, I'm Chandler." I'm paraphrasing. I said, "Hi." I said, "It's really weird about your parents." He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "It's, you know," I asked him something about the people that he went with, or the people that they went with, and were they missing too? He said not necessarily, or he didn't know. He talked about sending a friend or a relative to his parents' cottage to look for him. And he also asked if we had a security camera or surveillance equipment, and I said no, we didn't.
Okay. Did you have any discussion at all about a neck brace?
I did ask him, I said, "Are you the one that fell down and had a neck brace, or was that your brother?" And he said, "No, it was me." And I said, "Oh, don't have to wear it, I guess," or something like that.
And was he wearing it on the 8th?
No.
And you said you had a
Miraculously
discussion
healed.
with him about the other couple. Did you mean the couple that supposedly had picked up
Right,
Bart and Krista?
Right. I said, "Well, have you heard from them? Are they missing too?" And he said no, or not that he knows of, or something along those
Man,
lines.
I feel like that needs to be celebrated.
And he said, said, "Well, if they're missing, how are your parents going to get back from the cabin," or something along those lines. And he said he didn't think they were with them, or they were coming back, or it was kind of vague.
Do you remember telling detectives in connection with this investigation that Chandler had told you that the other couple might have just continued on with their trip?
Yes.
Did that make any sense to you?
No. I'd never seen Bart or Krista get in the car with anybody else.
And what was Chandler Halderson's demeanor like during this conversation with you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was Mr. Halderson Chandler's demeanor like during this conversation with you?
It was a little, maybe not nervous, because I can't really tell. I'd only never spoke with him, but maybe a little nervous or detached, or not all the way tuned in. He soon as I said, some other people might have
Is
surveillance
everybody
cameras in
in?
the neighborhood, he said, well, he was gonna go talk with them. And then he just left, turned around, and I said, I think we said something like, good luck.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Just to be clear, Mr. Gilbertson,
No,
you've
thank
never
you.
spoken with Chandler Halderson before that day, correct?
I do not think so.
If
Again,
you-
I don't know, I didn't really know the names of the two brothers. I might have said hi, but it was never a long conversation.
And when you say you never saw Krista or Bart get into a car with other people, it's fair to say you're not watching them all the time,
No.
correct?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No.
May this witness be excused and released from his subpoena.
Yes.
Sir, thank you for your time
All
today.
done?
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
That takes us to a 90-minute mark, folks. So I think it's a good point to take our afternoon break, and we'll see you back here just before 3 o'clock. All right. We would appreciate testimony without a mask
Okay,
on for purposes of a witness. Thank you so much. Go right ahead, Attorney Raymond.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your first and last name for the record and spell both?
Yes. Lisa, Lisa. Last name is Murray, Murray.
And Ms. Murray, where did you live in July of 2021?
At 4593 Oak Springs Circle in DeForest.
And you have kind of an interesting history with the 4595 Oak Springs Circle address. What is that history?
The 4595 Oak Springs addresser, the Halderson home, used to be my mother's home. She purchased the home in 1982, lived there until she passed away in 2009. I lived there for 2 or 3 years, and then I owned the vacant lot next door and built a new house right next door.
Okay.
Big move.
So fair to say you're very familiar with the neighborhood and with that home in particular.
Correct.
Did you know Bart and Krista Halderson?
I did.
How did you know them?
Being neighbors, just cordial, in the yard, how are you? Just chit chat.
Were you familiar with Chandler Halderson?
I had met Chandler maybe once or twice.
So you knew who he was, but not any particular intimate knowledge.
Correct.
Did you, though, have a conversation with Chandler Halderson on July 8th of 2021?
Yes, the morning of July 8th, about roughly 8:30 in the morning, somebody rang our doorbell. I answered the door and then called Jay, and Chandler was at the door and had just said, "Hi, I'm Chandler from next door." And we just said, we're sorry about your mom and dad, and he said, yeah, weird. And I think the next thing he said is he was looking for help. So
Weird.
he was looking to see if we had seen anything,
Weird.
if
he
we had
said.
surveillance cameras or Ring doorbell.
Weird.
I responded no,
Phrasing?
that we did not have a Ring doorbell. And then I think, I think we kind of started asking maybe a little bit of questions.
What'd you ask?
Well, I know Jay asked, are you the one with the neck brace? Because we had heard that one of the kids had fallen and had a neck brace. And Jay had just mentioned, is that you or your brother? And he goes, no, it's me. And Jay said, do you need to wear that? And he responded, no. And then he explained a bit about his parents, that somebody had picked him up.
Well, he's
And
consistent anyways.
he wasn't quite sure who had picked him up. And I guess it was unusual because we started asking questions and said, well, wouldn't that other couple be missing?
What, if anything, did Chandler say to that?
He said, no, not necessarily. He said that other couple might have been going on to their next trip or continued on with their trip. And Jay had said, wouldn't they need to bring your parents back?
And did Chandler have any response to that?
He didn't have a response. He just
No.
was maybe an awkward silence and just said, I don't understand. My dad always drives.
How did that conversation end?
I think it had just become, uncomfortable for him. And after that, it was more, he just kind of turned around. Oh, I'm sorry, I did miss one part early on when he was asking about if we had surveillance. We said no, but we do know that other people down the street have high security system, or we also know other people that have Ring doorbells. I'm sorry, I missed that part. So
That's okay.
but how it ended was
Rudy never fail.
he just kind of turned around and walked off the front porch, went down to the end of the driveway and looked left, looked right, and just started walking down the street to the left.
Ms. Murray, I'm going to approach you and have you look at what has been marked as Exhibit 54. Could you please describe Exhibit 54 for the jury?
Exhibit 54 is a picture of a window that I took.
Of whose house?
This is the Halderson's home. The picture is the west side facing window into the garage. There are two side windows into the garage. This is the one that is the closest near the pond or the lake.
And what date did you take that picture?
I took it on July 7th at 5:20 p.m.
And does Exhibit 54 appear to be a true and accurate print of that picture that you
They
took?
have like
Yes.
Exhibit 450.
I would move
and stuff.
Exhibit 54 into evidence,
Any objection?
No.
It is received.
and I would ask to publish.
You may.
No, you
The photo
can't.
should show up on the computer monitor.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Murray, why in the world did you take a picture of your neighbor's window?
It was very unusual that the window was open. It was July, it was very hot. And those windows are never open. That side of the house, we see out that side of the house from three different sets of windows, from our kitchen, from our dining room, and from our sunroom. We can see that side. And there's only 4 windows on that side of the house. I've never seen a window open there.
And that struck you as unique and you wanted to document it in some way?
Very unique.
Is that window, you've lived in this home, is that window difficult to get to?
It is. It's kind of an awkward window. With it being at the end of the house,
Not so loud.
you have
the
to
window
walk
might
around the
hear you.
cars to get there. I've never been in the home since the Haldersons owned it. You have to kind of, we owned it, you had to fall over a workbench area to get to the window. So it really was an awkward window to open.
And the Haldersons had lived in that home approximately 5 years?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, that's the only time you observed that window open was July 7th of 2021?
Correct.
No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Just to be clear, that window goes into the garage,
Correct.
and you didn't have any recent reason to know what was the layout inside the garage at that time, correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You hadn't been in that garage recently, correct?
Correct.
That's all. Thank you.
Any redirect?
No.
May this witness be excused and released from subpoenas?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
State calls Eric Novak to the stand.
Ryan, you got a sound effect. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. If you are comfortable and believe you can do so safely, we would appreciate your testifying without a mask if you're able.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Judge, before we start, could we approach, please?
Sure.
No, you can't.
Last name is. Good afternoon. Could you please state both your first and last name and spell both for the record?
Eric Novak, EricNovak.
And can you just pull that microphone right in front of your mouth there?
The fans are running and some tones of voice don't get picked up as well. So we want you to be comfortable. That can be moved as close as can be.
Eric, do you know somebody by the name of Chandler Halderson?
Yes.
How do you know Chandler Halderson?
I met him in middle school and we've been friends since then. And we lived together 2 years ago.
Okay. I believe the court will probably direct everyone but the jury to remove their mask for a few seconds. But do you see Mr. Halderson in the courtroom today?
Before answering, I would ask anyone who's not in the jury box to lower their mask as I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and replace your masks.
Yes.
Could you identify him by where he's seated and the color of his shirt?
He's seated in that table, third from the right, and he's wearing a black suit.
Okay. Thank you. At some point in time, did you learn, or from a news story or wherever, that Mr. Halderson's parents were missing?
Yes,
And did you reach out to Mr. Halderson?
I did.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 56. Is Exhibit 56, is it fair to say that is screenshots of messages between you and Chandler?
Yes.
And you call him Chaz?
Yes.
I would move Exhibit 56 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It is received.
All right, and there should be a little screen in front of you, which hopefully I'll try to move it so you can read. And I just thought it might be easiest just to read through these. So is the blue part what you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Roommate.
Why don't you go ahead and read what
Friend
you
from
first
middle school.
wrote to Chandler?
Hey Chaz, saw a post about your parents. Wanted to check up with you. If you need anything or I can do anything to help, happy to do it.
And then Chaz responds, and you sent that message on July 8th at 10:55 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And it appears that Chandler responds, I appreciate it. I'm sorry, but I don't have a name to this number. So who may this be?
Eric.
Sorry, I can't think of anything to do. I've searched the house with the cops for clues, but I couldn't find anything. Fingers crossed that they get the court order to open up their laptop. And then I believe
They went up to the cabin, right? They haven't tried tracking their phones.
we need a court order for that. Every time I call, it goes straight to voicemail. So I think the phones are off or out of range.
Okay, hopefully they move on that. When were they supposed to be back?
Monday, Tuesday.
Have you been able to reach them at all since they left?
They sent a text on Sunday, but I don't know when they made it because of the
They're
reception.
role playing.
I see. I'm not really sure what to do either
Or how to help.
or how to help.
All right. And that was basically your conversation via text with Chandler
Yes.
on July 8th. So I know you don't know a lot about this case, but during your friendship with Chandler, did you guys ever go swimming?
Yes.
Where'd you guys go swimming?
We went up to a beach in Sauk City.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 55. could you please describe Exhibit 55?
So on the right of the picture, that's kind of the area we would walk to, and then we'd swim over there and go to the sandbar in the middle.
Okay. So you said over to the right. I don't think everyone can see that. Okay. Over to the right here is where you would walk to.
Yes,
Okay. And then you would swim to the sandbar in the middle.
yes,
And does this picture, Exhibit 55, appear to be a true and accurate depiction of that area as far as you know it?
as far as I know, yes.
All right. I'd move Exhibit 55 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It is received.
No further questions.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
May the witness be excused and released?
Yeah, I'm super
He
jealous.
may be excused but not released.
You are excused from any further testimony today, but you're still under subpoena to the state. Well, thank you very much. Have a good remainder of your day.
Thank you. You too.
At this time, I'll recall Detective Brian Shunk to the stand.
Oh, yeah.
If you would, again, as long as nothing's changed since your last time on the stand, testify without your mask. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Detective Shunk.
Good afternoon.
Name still the same as yesterday?
Yes, it is.
In the course of this case, many times you found yourself with other law enforcement officers over at the Halderson residence, correct?
Correct.
And at times, people were conducting varying levels of searches of that home. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
When you conduct a search of a home, when I say varying levels of searches, meaning some are more invasive or destructive than others, right?
Definitely.
Early on in this case, people were looking around the home, but maybe weren't being wholly invasive or wholly destructive at that time, correct?
Yes.
And for instance, you walked around the home at one point.
Yes.
Were you at that time with other detectives ripping out drawers and throwing things on the floor?
No.
What kind of search were you doing initially in the home?
When I was first there, initially we were just doing a visual search, consensual, consented to by Chandler Halderson.
You were
At least
looking
there
around.
was consent.
Yes.
At some point later on in the investigation, a very thorough search was done by someone who specializes kind of in searching homes, right?
Yes.
Deputy Greg Leatherberry, who's going to testify in this case, correct?
Correct.
And prior to that search being conducted by Deputy Leatherberry and his staff and the people that work with him, was a video taken of the entire Halderson home to try to document the state it was in, at least to the best of your ability before that more intrusive, destructive search was completed?
Yes.
And those videos are long, aren't they?
Yes.
And in fact, this one's an hour and a half, isn't it?
It's very thorough video.
And there's no narration to it.
Correct.
Doesn't make for engaging viewing always, right?
No.
The video has the ability to be sped up, correct?
Well,
Yes,
it's
And
not
you've
Game of
seen it
Thrones.
sped up in preparation for this case, correct?
I have.
And in fact, it can be sped up to 1/3 so that the video is less than an hour long.
Yes.
In speeding it up, in your view, having been in the Halderson home and having watched the original, does it change the quality of the video at all or what you're able to see?
It does not.
It just moves it along a little bit quicker?
Yes.
What is the purpose of these walkthrough videos that are done by law enforcement?
These walkthrough videos will document the home as is prior to any searches, just documenting how the home was found basically on law enforcement's first arrival.
Sure. And they'll go into every single room
Yes,
and they'll open up drawers and things like that.
they do.
I'm going to show you what's been marked in this case as exhibit number 543. Just feel around, and you've seen this before. In fact, a couple hours ago you saw it. This is a USB drive, correct?
It feels like it, yes.
Containing the video of the walkthrough in the home.
Yes.
Okay, I'll move exhibit 543 in evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It is received.
We'll get it queued up, and I'll move to publish it.
It's 1/3 faster. It's 4/3.
So as we're getting it queued up, and if you could switch.
Y'all. Rudy and I had an impromptu beer session, just one, at a place called Lunch Supper, and holy cow, we had two things, and none of it. It shouldn't. The first one should not have sounded good, which was pork rind nachos, but it was. I don't know how to explain this to you. I don't even know if I can find a there's not a. It should not have been good. It should not have worked, and yet it worked. We did that, and then we did fried oysters, and it all was fantastic. Just so good. Next time I'll take a picture. I'll be a millennial and take a picture. But oof, so good. And I had fresh jalapenos on the side that I was just gnawing on because yee.
HDMI left. Thank you. Just to preface this, again, this is going to be a walkthrough of the Halderson home. We'll pause it right there at 4595 Oak Spring Circle. And it's going to take, well, it says an hour and 28 minutes and 55 seconds. We're going to speed it up by about a third. It's going to be just under an hour, correct?
Yes.
Oh boy. No narration.
Judge, if you wanted to dim the lights, and I know everyone probably wants to get.
What happens if I turn it up the speed? Turn it up. You ever notice that the entire time Chandler's talking to other people, he's just doing this whole.
About me, want to talk about I want to talk about number one on my.
I do appreciate the fact that there was a card that was just thrown in front of the camera. See what happens when we speed it up a little bit. He did, but he also provided a very good sound effect, sound clip for us. So thanks, Tobes. All right. Well, that's not fast enough. Wow, that's them sped up. I can turn this to 2. That's a really, yeah, I think he did.
Hello.
This is literally on 2 times, y'all. It is on 2 times. All right. Got some juice. The juice is on the table. Oh, that's a package. What's in the package? What's in the box? What's in the box? Obviously, a home office area. No, he's not. Too soon? You know what, Rudy? That's a really good point. He was an accountant, a CPA. He was very what he touched seemed to be very put together. That is assuming that he did the basement. I cannot say that. But yeah. But at the same time, he had some time to set a scene after he took care of his parents. So it's very possible it was him trying to make it look like there's a lot that could have happened. Baseball. Dishes, Chandler. Look, you even have the spray soap. Just use the. Sir. Looks a lot like my. Ooh, Cheetos. It's a nice snicker. Oh, you mean the other knucklehead? Yeah, we probably could do that. I don't think there's a ton left on it, but we'll give it a shot. Oh, sir, sir, this was not your. This is you. You are a mess. How dare you mistreat a kitchen like that? We're currently trying to redo some of the kitchen, and it's killing Mrs. Brewcrime and me. We have to we're having to scrape all the paint off of the cabinets because they painted it incorrectly twice. That's very true. That's also very true. I do not envy Mr. Shunk having to go through this. You'll notice there's no real liquor. I don't see any liquor bottles. I mean, everybody has that 1/10 shelves. I'm telling you what. I would be so worried about opening the dishwasher at this point. I will say this, going through this makes me feel a little bit better about my household. Everybody always has their Instagram homes. But come on now. Or before you do the murdering. I mean, take some action. I am not encouraging that. Those doors are so thin. They're so thin. We're about to see the fireplace. Mm-hmm. I think that's a Lego box on the dining room table, if my memory serves, but I could be wrong. Ugh, what is happening? Work in progress. Yep, that is a Lego box. I mean, like, I know that when he got hurt, he was down there, but zoinks. Like all of our houses are in like a mode of we're all working on them all the time. But this is something. It looks like they were reflooring is what it looks like, and they just hadn't gotten to this part yet.
Ron, where are you? I'm in a glass case of emotion.
I can't believe this is at 2 times the speed of a third more of the speed. So we're at 8/3 the speed? I don't know. Fractions and math. Wow. That fire was hot. Not hot enough, but hot. When he got injured, I guess he set that up that way. I'm guessing he ended up being there so that he could be weighted on hand and foot. Mm, yes. No, it's like a split level. So I think it's down the steps from the kitchen. It's like a family room versus the formal living room upstairs. So I wouldn't call it a basement per se. Well, that stinks again. We'll have to fix it. I mean, it's not necessarily like a traditional split level, because for me, traditional, like when you walk in the house, it splits, right? I think you walk in on like the top floor, but then it goes down into another floor, and then there might be an upstairs too. All right, mods, the courtyard invite command is reset. So you're good for that. Yeah, tri-level. See, I don't know. I just wouldn't call it a basement. I mean, I guess you could call it a finished basement, but well, that's a lovely walk-in shower. All that grout. All that grout. Was that not the? Okay. Not all to himself. God is there with him. Always watching. Yeah, so like that's incredible. I mean, the fact that that grout is must have been for the grout. That's what I thought. In Wisconsin, on a bottom floor with tile floors, has got to be cold. Oh, trash cans inside. Ooh, not not particularly a fan. But maybe there's an HOA. Wait. Dibs on the riding lawnmower. It's incredible there wasn't more smoke damage with everything going on. There's the basement. That's a creepy little walking space. That's... I remember the officer talking about that spot, but that's something. Never put the Rugrats in the freezer. I apparently need you all to come here and organize this. Although eventually I'm moving this around. This desk is going to rotate so that the camera is going this way towards the wall. Then I'm going to put some of this stuff back here so that there's less open space back here. Because this is... I got to figure out what I'm going to be doing. But... You're pickled pickle. I don't... Nah. Nah. I'm going to need it. Between that and then cable management and... I haven't done yet. Every time anybody mentions pickles, I love pickles.
I'm crazy about them. I'll say my pickles are addicted. I have two pickles today. Hey, Du tänkte lura på en ring och like du tycker till dig.
That's all I ever think about. Well, you can't say night court's not thorough. Llamas are notorious pickle haters. What? What? There's so much square footage in this home. Oh, really? They live in Wisconsin, but that is a map of Michigan? Or was that Wisconsin and I just don't know the United States geography? Jesus, JT. All the mods now are quoting the Little Rascals in the background. Look at how okay, so he was organized. We're gonna go with he was organized. Not that she wasn't, but he seems very organized. No receipts. They were definitely working on remodeling. Is that a bathroom? No, that's not a bathroom. Well, I don't know what that is. That is a bathroom. Jeez. See? Not for this channel. Although Mr. Rogers Hood was hysterical with the who is it? It's a classic. It's a cool idea to make that a desk. Oh, more Legos. That's the Lego bouquet. Whoa. Whoa.
Right?
Okay.
Yes. And the time that was conducted, the whole
Sorry.
purpose was to see the entire house. No one knew what was really relevant yet or not relevant yet, right?
Correct.
And while we might talk about all of the rooms in the next couple of days, fair to say that the basement of the house, the room with the fireplace, Mr. Halderson's bedroom, those will be the three primary areas that we're going to continue talking about the next few days.
Correct.
At this point in the trial, and I suppose as one of the primary investigators, we've now heard from pretty much everyone who was involved in Mr. Halderson going door to door, looking for security videos, correct?
Yes.
We might hear from a few more people that were in the area, but at this point, we've heard from those folks. One of those folks, Mr. Linsmeyer, mentioned to Chandler that he should give the cops a call. In fact, you were one of the people who left a card and ultimately got some calls from Chandler, right?
Yes.
And we're going to hear about that later on in the trial.
We will.
Okay. Now, that home, the Halderson home, obviously there was a large amount of police presence there in early July of this year. At points, Chandler was there, and then at some point, I think we're all in agreement that he was arrested. In fact, you were one of the people in the room when he was arrested on the 8th in the afternoon or early evening, correct?
Correct.
From the 8th onward, so let's say July 8th when Chandler was arrested, all the way through August 4th, that house remained in the custody of the Dane County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Yes.
And it was guarded at all times, was it not?
Definitely.
Can you tell us just briefly what it means to guard a house, a crime scene guard?
Yes. So our crime scene investigators will secure the home. They'll put up some type of a evidence tape on the doorway to make sure that no one, snuck into the home. There'll be a deputy assigned to that location, to that crime scene, and they'll remain there for their entire shift. They won't leave unless they're relieved. So no bathroom breaks, no going to a restaurant. They are there guarding that home.
Sure. So from the time of Mr. Halderson's arrest on July 8th all the way through August 4th, nearly a month, at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there was a Dane County Sheriff's deputy guarding that home.
Yes.
And they kept a log of everyone who came and went, correct?
Correct.
And that was turned over to my office and the defense. It's a normal part of the process in the court system.
Yes.
And people who entered that home, I think we may have saw people wearing booties when they passed by a mirror. People were outfitted with appropriate equipment to protect any biological evidence when they were coming and going.
Yes.
Okay. Including yourself at times.
Correct.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Cross-examination?
No, thank you.
I would just ask one clarifying point. The deputy in charge or assigned to guard the home, did they guard from the outside or the inside?
No one's allowed inside the home except for the crime scene investigators at that time, so they are outside of the home.
Thank you. Anything in follow-up to my question?
No, thank you.
Detective, you may return back to the table. Would this be a good point for us to break for the day?
I think we've been staring at that snow showers message on the bottom right for a while, so I think that'd be a good idea.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point then,
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we will end the night. Sorry about the issue earlier, but we all found our way back. With that being said, yes, I did. I put it up. I put up the first one. Arrest made, property cleared. Yikes. Although let me say this. I did find a picture of that ladder. And I have to say, not just does not look it didn't look reasonable as a thing. Like it's actually built to be like that. I'm trying to find what that actually looks like. And no, I can't find something. I'll find it later. It's something else. Something else. Well, everybody, listen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, I'm going to see you on Thursday. 3 nights this week. I'll see you on Thursday for another installment where we start with day 3. Remember, tomorrow at noon Central will be Midday Missing with Terry. And then, Thursday will be Night Court. Yeehaw! So, thanks. Take care of yourself. Take care of your friends, your family, your community. Don't let anybody dull that sparkle. I can see it from here. And shine on. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Shine on. I will see you on Thursday, everybody. Court's adjourned.